They forged an unlikely friendship after looking for love on a reality dating show. Now, Byrne and Brittany Hockley boast more than 30 million downloads of their hugely successful podcast, Life Uncut, sharing unfiltered and hilarious takes on what life looks like in your 30s.
Maybe there is a problem there.
I went on a first date with a guy from Hinge and it ended up being a great night. We went...
Oh, that is funny.
We went...
And they're not done yet. The dynamic duo is taking their hit show to the stage and releasing their debut book, an A to Z on life, lust and love.
And Brittany and Laura join us live in the studio on the couch. Laura's a little bit scared because she goes, Laura's a bit naughty. Welcome to the show.
They're a bit uncut.
A bit uncut.
All I think looking at that is like two things. One, I need to work on that laugh. Two, we need to work on our social media. Interesting videos.
Yeah, because 30 million downloads, you're doing it all wrong, guys. Brittany, you have this, one of the most successful podcasts in the country, right? What made you want to go ahead and do a book? Because you're already busy.
We just thought, we have 300 or 320 episodes over 3 years, and we thought, what is a way we can package this up into one tight little bundle, one go-to hotspot, a little Bible for people when they need maybe a pick-me-up, a laugh, when they're going through something hard. They don't have to go and trawl through 300 episodes to find what they need. So for us, it was, let's put everything in one tight little place.
Yeah, because Laura, I mean, your story, you found Matty J on the TV, on the reality dating show.
I won him.
But you
He's
won
my boyfriend that I won on a reality TV show.
So your A to Z is kind of maybe a little bit different to other people's, but you almost didn't go on that show.
Well, I mean, I'm very glad now and grateful that I did.
Sure.
But in the lead up to the show, the night before, when you're supposed to have your bags packed and everything, they kind of, on The Bachelor, they tell you that they'll give you a pickup location the day that you're going to go into the mansion, and it's all very hush-hush. They organise a bus to come collect you, and I just didn't show up at the pickup location, and I got a call from the producer being like, are you still going to come? And I had completely changed my mind and was like, it's not for me, I've had a change of heart. And she said to me, well, look, if you change your mind again, you need to be at the Ultimo Hotel by 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I was like, cool, not going to happen. So I went to bed that night, and then I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I just had this feeling of like, what am I doing? I think I'm supposed to do this, which sounds so silly because it's a reality TV show, but I really had this feeling of like, you need to go and do this and see this out. And I woke my housemates up, and that was it. We went on the show and now got two kids.
Lucky you did. Wow. That's trusting your gut.
I go through the same every morning before I come in here.
And then you make it on.
Every morning.
No, the waking up at 3 a.m, that's the bit.
No, apart from that.
When I wake up, tells you have to come to work.
When I wake up at 9:15, I go, do I have to do this today? Brittany, now anyone who listens to your podcast, right, you guys don't hold back, and we've found out a heck of a lot about you two during the podcast. There's more in the book. You go deeper. Are you nervous about putting so much out there, or is the podcast sort of open the floodgates, if you like?
Oh, I mean, the transition from when we started the podcast three and a half years ago until now, when we started at day one, we said we are not going to talk about our personal lives. We will never say the S word,
or
like
our personal
sex,
parts.
Nothing. We were like nothing. 3 years later, we put it all out there. But there are things we have chosen. I think a lot of people think we share every part of our life. We definitely don't. There are parts that we have kept very close to us that we've been through together, individually. Parts of our childhood or you know, just things that have really affected us. So there are some things that we put out in the book, and it's always, I mean, you've written a book, you know, it's always scary when you put it out there for the world to see, and you wonder what's going to happen.
I think for me as well, the big thing with that was like, we talk a lot on podcasting, but like anyone would know from that when what you say verbally, when it's written down, it can have a very different meaning. So there's always been this fear for me that like, if I tell all my stories on a podcast and then it's rewritten in the media, you can take a little clickbait line and then the whole sentiment, the whole context can be changed very, very quickly. And I had this real fear around, well, there's probably some parts of stories that I wanted to share that I was like, I don't know how that's going to repurpose into, you know, some of the rag trade. So writing it in a book felt really purposeful. It kind of was a great medium to be able to say, well, that is how I wrote it, and it cannot be misinterpreted.
Because, I mean, there were some heavy topics in there, substance abuse within your family, miscarriages.
Yeah, so I speak a little bit more about my childhood, and that kind of led into, because ultimately our podcast started out as a relationships podcast, and for me, one of the big topics that we did early on was a conversation around attachment styles, and I was like, it was like this penny drops moment. And for anyone who doesn't know, but attachment styles is looking at what the role models were for relationships when you were growing up. Like, what did that look like for you? And then when you got into your adult life, have you like replicated that, or have you taken some parts from maybe the way that your parents interacted with each other? And then when I unpacked my childhood and, you know, specifically my mum's relationship with my second stepdad, it was not a great place. And so for us, that was something that, well, for me, that was something that made a huge difference in my life, is kind of being able to link it back or where that came from, and then that is something that I really go into in the book, and that was a big thing to share.
Well, like the podcast, the book is terrific, right? But the podcast, you are taking the podcast and that laugh on the road.
We're coming for you.
You're giving it over.
Well,
Tell us about the on the road.
Next week we are.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, we are doing a live show with a lot of people. We've got some amazing guests that we've kept as a surprise, but it's our first live show. We haven't done it before. We've been wanting to do it for a long time, but there's always been a reason we've found not to do it.
Well, I mean, 2 kids is probably a good reason as
Two
well.
babies,
Trying to
yeah.
actually find time. But we do the podcast normally in a little silo in the bedroom.
In our undies.
Yeah, well, not always in our, sometimes we're clothed. But it will be a funny thing to get up on stage and tell these stories in front of a whole room full of people.
Yeah.
We're really excited for it.
It's great.
So you should know each other very well. Is there anything back to the book now? You guys have got so much going on. Back to the book that you learned about each other that maybe you did not know. Like you're there proofreading the chapters and you're going, Britt, I never knew that. Or Laura, I never knew that.
I mean, we spend so much time together, it's insane. I see Laura more than she sees a fiancé, Maddie J. I don't have a fiancé, as we all know, but...
but you're working on that.
Well, I mean, it's slow and steady. Slowly wins the race. But, I mean, we know a lot about each other, but reading it was really hard for me to read a lot of Laura's chapters from when she was younger and her childhood and things that we've always touched on, but we didn't dig deep into. So... yeah, it's been great for us.
Yeah.
I feel like we're like a relationship therapy. I'm like, it's been great.
But I agree. I think also, you know your friends so well, but you might know top line some of the stories that played out prior to actually getting to know each other. But it's very rare that you would sit down and be like, here is my story. And because we wrote the book together, we really got a huge insight, not just into like past stories, but also into how each other feels about a lot of things.
That's
a beautiful picture of me.
I am glorious.
I mean, that is true friendship, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
The stitch up. What part of that is true?
Well, it says 2 things. It says that Laura's very comfortable to sleep in your presence, and it says you're very comfortable to film her while she is catching Zeds on a plane.
In my defence, I said, can this go on Instagram?
I think that just says I'm sleep deprived. That's what that says.
It sure does.
At least if the oxygen mask fell down, it would land in exactly the right spot. You are ready for the oxygen mask.
Well, you are sleep deprived, and it's because you have so much going on. Congratulations on all that you've got going on.
Thank you so much.
And the new on stage. What do you call it? On stage? What do you?
A live show.
Live show.
Rock and roll.
Wish us luck for that one.
Well, like it's not a.
What do you call it?
It's not a play. It is not a play.
Is it a musical? Is it a film? Is it a
live show?
It's a live show.
I just forgot the phrase.
It's not even like a podcast. Like when I sit there and talk into microphones, it's going to be a proper show.
It's entertaining.
We'll
There's
figure it out.
artists.
Is there singing and dancing and music?
We have a very special surprise person who is coming, which we can't say. But it's on Wednesday. Anyone want to come?
Probably someone from Channel 10, whatever. Their brand new book, We Love Love, is out now. It's terrific. And you can catch them both live at the City Recital Hall, great venue in Sydney. And that is next week, and that's going to be a heap of fun.
Nothing says live show like the Recital Hall. There you go. That has live show written all over it. Live show, live show,
That's
live
great,
show.
because it's nice and intimate there. It'd be good fun.
You guys are
1,200 people. I reckon it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Don't listen to Kylie. It's going to be great. And there will be singing and dancing.